We buy your crap. And if we don't buy your crap, your company goes down. I don't know how hard that is for these people to understand that you cannot protest the freaking consumer. You cannot protest the consumer. When you're toxic towards people, people will be toxic back to you. Anytime I see a developer, like any team member from a developer, arguing with people online about why your opinion is wrong about their game, I automatically disconnect from that game. I lose complete interest in that game. I lost complete interest in that Helldivers 2 game when I started reading what the community managers were saying. The community managers ruined my interest in wanting to play that game, and apparently now the game is dying for whatever reasons. I've been disconnected. Back to the video.
Well, welcome back, you absolute stellar legends. So today we're going to be doing a reaction to the IGN positive review of the Dragon Age Veilguard. So just to preface this, so we're going to be watching a short clip from the Luke Stevens live channel. Check him out, he's a great streamer and he's also a great content creator. I've been watching him for a little while. So according to his own words, so there was a review embargo of the game, so you were allowed reviewing the game, talking about the game and whatever, but you were only allowed being positive about your experience playing Dragon Age Veilguard. So this is pretty much, you can only do a Chris Stuckman style review where you can only celebrate the game and be positive about the game. If you didn't like something about the game, you couldn't say, oh, this was bad, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, up until September 19th. So I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but the reason why I'm actually making this video is to inform you guys about this. That way, you guys are not being deceived by game reviewers making positive reviews for Dragon Age Veilguard because they're just trying to get sales going, because apparently the sales are not doing so great for this Dragon Age game. I played every single Dragon Age game. The first one is always and will always be the best one. I might include that in the modern retro gaming videos. We'll see. Second one was all right. Third one was decent, but again, none of them were ever as good as the first one. And now we have Veilguard. So let's start things up.
This is gonna be weird.
Yep, it's definitely gonna be weird.
Are you ready? Full disclosure, I have played Dragon Age the Veilguard.
That's Luke Stevens.
Like a lot of it. And way more than I would have expected to have gotten the chance to play, if that makes sense.
So I don't think anywhere during the entire video he actually tells us how long he's played the game, but pay attention to what he says.
We did get to go to try Dragon Age the Veilguard.
All right, here we go.
The reason I'm saying this is because my impressions are lifted on the 19th. That's when the embargo is up, and I'm allowed to talk about it. As a result, this is like a little weird.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
Because I have opinions on the game. I've played a lot of it. And IGN...
Luke Stevens is actually pretty damn based. He is a lot more honest than a lot of the content creators. He has been trashing Suicide Squad since day one. And he's been playing the Suicide Squad updates both seasons, the Joker season and the Miss They Them Frost.
Just got the chance to reveal their exclusive first hands-on preview.
So this is what we're actually going to be reacting to afterwards. So this part of the video is very, very important because it sets the stage of the deception.
As a result of that, in this 13-minute video, they talk about their impressions of the game. I've not watched this yet. I've read the first line where they say, "We're pleased to say that we walked away with excitement and curiosity, but mostly relief to waive many of our concerns goodbye. So
See, nothing but positivity. Whatever negativity they had was waved goodbye.
I have opinions on this. Maybe I agree totally. Maybe I agree even more. Maybe I disagree forcefully. Maybe I think it sucked. Maybe I think it's amazing and a Game of the Year contender. I'm not allowed to tell you.
Nope.
I'm not allowed to tell you.
It's so messed up that this guy is a professional game reviewer and he's not allowed to say whether he thinks the game is good or bad. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure he could say that the game is, if he thought the game was good. So my main thing is with Luke Stevens, my impression is if he thought, after watching his videos for the past few months, after I discovered this guy, if he is unwilling to make a video of his experience, he must have a lot more negatives than positives. I'm sure he's going to have positives. I'm sure he will, but I'm sure he's also going to have a lot of negatives.
So, they sent us an email describing kind of how we should navigate this, because they're like, obviously IGN's impressions are going to go up ahead of time. You're still under embargo, but we don't want you to be muzzled and not be able to talk about this. So you can talk about it. We
yeah.
just ask that you keep your personal impressions and opinions private until the embargo lifts. And you can talk about what you think of their impressions, but you can't bring up your impressions. So it's a fine line to walk, okay? But basically what this is going to look like is we're going to look at this, and if they say something like, in our time with the game, we noticed that this combat worked this way, and it was good. If I think it was bad, in my experience, I'm not going to verbalize that. I'm going to okay,
guess he's not allowed.
If I agree it was really good, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, interesting. But basically, I'm going to look at this from the perspective of myself as of 2 weeks ago, before I played the game. Okay? Why so convoluted? Because that's just where we are, 2024. Ooh, baby. So let's.
All right, so that's it for the Luke Stevens portion of the video, and now we're going to dive right into the dumpster fire. All right, so I'm pressing start on the Dragon Age. So this is the IGN gameplay review reaction from IGN. Very credible. I think snot. Guys, by the way, if you guys enjoy the video, please, I appreciate you guys dropping a like and subscribing. YouTube might tell you guys that they don't care about subscriber counts, but we, the small content creators, absolutely love it. And I want to welcome all 50 new subscribers over the past few days. Welcome everybody. I appreciate you guys coming by. I know a lot of you guys are also coming from Asmongold's channel, and I appreciate that we apparently share some sort of audience, so that's awesome. So you know what? Let's just get into the video.
It's been 10 long years since Dragon Age Inquisition, and the expectations for the next game in the series, Dragon Age Veilguard, seem impossible. A full decade, a bevy of behind-the-scenes changes, and an interesting start to its marketing campaign made me a little worried for my most highly anticipated.
All right, so you guys already know like my stance and my beliefs in what I think magenta color wash over everything in our modern games is complete garbage, and this game is no different. I've always looked at this guy and I've always been confused about the design of the character. The whole thing, the head, like the horns, the forehead. He just looks weird.
Game of the year.
I admire you. What you've been through would break most people.
But one of my biggest concerns, based on
Alright, so let's pay attention to the combat.
early previews, was that it could be headed in the direction of being a linear action game rather than its more open world predecessor. While Dragon Age is known for changing its style with each installment, I hoped dearly that it wouldn't lose too much of the DA DNA I fell in love with.
Alright, then there we go, the color out of space.
After hours of hands-on.
Alright, let's back up. So pay attention to the action.
A DNA I fell in love with.
The
After
dude
hours
skates.
of hands-on time spread across 2 days, I'm pleased to say that I walked away
He
with
skates
excitement and
across
curiosity,
the.
but mostly relief to wave many of those concerns goodbye.
Dragon Age the Veilguard hands-on preview.
My time with the Veilguard covered a wide smattering of things,
All right, so this is something that is very common, and this has started becoming a lot more apparent since Forspoken. It's all a visual mess spectacle. It's all particles, like all over the place, like formless particles just being scattered across everything.
including the incredibly expansive character.
It's not hard to design a character with horns. The hair is somehow growing. Anyways.
Creator, the introductory quests, a faction mission, and a companion quest a little deeper into the game. But I was mostly pleased with my ability to just explore Northern Thetis and all its gorgeously designed glory, experiencing a setting.
Like, the world, I always will criticize the things, and I always will point out the things that I think look good. Like, the world, even though, like, the game is a lot more cartoony than I would have expected it to be, the world does look creative.
In Dragon Age lore that we've really only heard about. To be clear, the Veilguard isn't the open-world playground that Inquisition was. As game director Corinne Bush has previously stated, it's more mission-based. But what impressed me after the first few hours was how much
Okay, let's back that up.
exploration can still be done in the various regions, as well as the impact
The thing just falls.
player character, Rook, can have on those regions.
And there we go. Easy.
Yes, there is going to be a lot of nitpicking because this game is pissing me off.
Something of a mix of Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition. The more streamlined approach of the former with the geographically and socially.
Like, everything's got to be magenta, man. With
Of course, some of the bigger art style, combat, and gameplay changes will be subject to personal taste. But after my time with the Veilguard, I left feeling like these 10 long years just might have been worth the wait. As fans have already seen from the first gameplay trailer, players are dropped right into the city of Minrathous in the middle of the action as Solus prepares a ritual that will devastate Thetis. Luckily, our old friend Varric has
Yeah, see, Varric has been a character that's been in the Dragon Age games since day one. Very likable character.
recruited you to help, and it barely takes a couple of minutes for the game to put the focus on Rook. After a surprisingly concise story recap from Varric, there are a number of aspects the Veilguard starts easing you into. For one, the combat. Gone are the days of Dragon Age Origins' more CRPG-inspired tactical system, offering a style that's a mix of quick action and...
Like, a lot of people are saying that this is very mobile game. And I would agree. It does look very mobile gamey. Guys, I will be playing this most likely on launch day. It is going to be part of Game Pass. It's the only way I'm going to actually play it. I own all 3 games. I traded in the second one, but I did actually own all 3 of the Dragon Age games.
You can pause and pull up your radial menu. While this absolutely does take some getting used to, and it'll be a gradual process to create...
Okay, so let's back up. So like I said, like the combat is very, very skatey.
More CRPG-inspired tactical system, offering a style that's a mix of quick action and a mechanic where you can pause and pull up your radial menu. While this absolutely does take some getting used to,
and even the enemies, like, I'm not sure if you're going to see it in this video, but even the enemies, like, boom, 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 skate across the arena.
I largely played mage and rogue builds during my hands-on time, and also quickly started to lean on certain companions' abilities. For one, the mage healing ability was essential. For one particularly difficult remnant, I basically established a pattern where I was only using Balara's mana to heal me, dodging and playing it safe when it got too risky.
See what I mean, man? Like,
Nev's
everything
ability
is
to
just
slow time
particles. And look at that face. Like, people have been posting screenshots of the enemies, and pretty much all the enemies have this like goofy look on their face.
was also one I kept returning to, offering a bit more control on the battlefield when the situation got a little too
Do I need to
fast-paced.
back up on that?
Time was also one I kept returning to, offering a bit more control on the battlefield when the situation
See how the
got a
guy
little
just
too fast-paced.
skated around the arena? The boss?
And for you glass cannon builds out there, you'll want to have a warrior around to taunt your enemies out of your way.
No problem.
Like a whole lot in the Veilguard, combat revolves around your companions, even though you can't fully take control of them like in previous Dragon Age games. Different companions have different combo options together, and there are certainly opportunities to build team synergy. Oh, and you'll want to listen to your companions in combat too, as they'll occasionally drop some useful hints.
Hitting us from range.
But combat aside, your dialogue choices, your rook's background, and the frequent decisions you make are immediately important.
It's always this weird face, these weird faces, man. Why can't they just use like a Japanese engine that can actually make decent looking characters? But they always have this like weird doughy face.
Which shouldn't be too surprising for fans of BioWare games. The dialogue wheel is back, of course, as is the approval-disapproval system.
Haven't got a lot of time. Varric said you had a lead on Solus?
You get right to the point.
But I was surprised to see that the Veilguard actually explains the consequences of some of your dialogue choices in very clear terms.
See, you say that.
It's a variation of the so-and-so will remember that system, but more specific.
But we do have Nev's location now, so...
Take, for example, my first confrontation with Solus, aka Fen'Harel, aka the Dreadwolf. I chose
So this guy is Solus. Soulless.
a more sarcastic, humorous approach with him, and at the end of our confrontation,
Bro, I'm so done with these sarcastic, humorous approaches with our freaking modern games. Like, we have it in Japanese games as well, but they always come off so much more insufferable and annoying in the Western games. Especially since, you know, the game is going to be pretty much, every other word's going to be probably like a swear word.
text on the side of the screen informed me that I have traded verbal jabs with Solus.
This is your responsibility now.
It was far from the only occurrence of this sort of text.
I thought she was topless for a second. I was like, where are her nipples? And then it finally dawned on me that she's actually wearing something.
And it leaves me curious as to how your relationships with various characters will build and branch out over time based on your attitude. Speaking of consequences, it quickly became clear to me that there would consistently be tons of choices in the Veilguard that'll have lasting results. It probably sounds like I'm stating the obvious here, but I got the sense that even
Okay,
more
529. Okay, I want to draw you guys' attention to this. I caught a video where this guy was freaking out about how great the bruising of her face was. No, this is not actually good. This looks terrible. This just looks like she's got like purple splotches on her face. They might do a close-up afterwards.
attitude. Speaking of kinds of choices might be peppered throughout than the usual BioWare game. Right at the beginning, for instance, I made a choice that led to Harding getting injured, and she was still bruised
Okay, yeah,
up for
here
the
we go.
remainder of the next couple hours. I felt like a real jerk about it.
Does this look anything realistic to you guys?
and that was probably the point. Dragon Age the Veilguard seemed to be telling me, right from the start, that I'm going to feel like a jerk a lot.
You don't slow down for much, do you?
Without spoiling too much, you'll also be able to see some of your progression and choices.
Bruises are firstly not just one color. There's purple, there's yellow in the bruise, there's blue.
The environment around you as well. But once introductions were out of the way, it was time to explore the wide world of Thetis and see its past and present collide.
Shall we?
You know, it's actually amazing when a game developer is toxic towards its fan. It's amazing how toxic we become towards the game. Like, I've played games that looked similar to this. One that comes to mind is Kingdoms of Amalur. That looks very similar to this, and I absolutely love Kingdoms of Amalur. I played it on PlayStation 3. I played it on the Xbox 360, and then I got the remake of it a couple years ago. This looks kind of similar to it, but when you're toxic towards people, people will be toxic back to you. Anytime I see a developer, like any team member from a developer, arguing with people online about why your opinion is wrong about their game, I automatically disconnect from that game. I lose complete interest in that game. I lost complete interest in that Helldivers 2 game when I started reading what the community managers were saying. The community managers ruined my interest in wanting to play that game, and apparently now the game is dying for whatever reasons. I've been disconnected. Back to the video.
Let's do this.
I appreciate you guys sticking through the video.
As mentioned earlier, one of my biggest worries was that the Veilguard could end up being more linear in its approach, trading branching gameplay for a straight line. And sure, the opening hours, essentially the tutorial zone, are a little railroady, save for a couple key decisions you have to make. But once you're past that and more established with an Act 1, you're much more free to
like, everything is comical. Like, it's Western gaming is very comical, not just in the story, the dialogue and the acting, but the character design is very comical. Like, everything is goofy and funny looking. That's why I haven't played a good horror game, modern Western horror game in ages. When was the last time we had a good modern horror game? I think Until Dawn was the last one I could remember. Western, remember, Western. And Capcom doesn't count.
Regions. You do this via the Crossroads. For those of you who aren't brushed up on your Dragon Age lore, that's a nexus between the waking world of Thetis and the metaphysical realm of the Fade, through which the ancient elves would travel through magical mirrors called Alluvians. You now use the Alluvian.
Everything's got this purple, magenta color wash over it. So, like, this color is designed, just like lavender, it's designed to be a calming effect on people. But here's the thing. There's actually studies that you can look up where lavender is actually soothing and calming for women, but kind of the opposite effect on men.
For that same purpose, and to unlock new regions, you have to fight through certain areas of the Crossroads before you can start fast traveling to them.
Yes, look.
Crossroads before you can start fast traveling to them.
Skating, it's all skating.
Regions opens up a vast network of areas, and not unlike past Dragon Age games, they're dramatically different.
Like, yes, they are doing the skating aspect to make the combat look faster and smoother.
Take, for example, the Arlethan Forest. A gorgeous, colorful region that mixes greenery with elven magic. You can see nugs burrow into the grass, magical artifacts abound, and there's a vast array of nature to simply admire. You're hit with a massive tone shift, however, when you head to Haussburg.
Lavendel Village. Whatever happened here looks like Demeter's Crossing.
Currently under siege by the Blight, here is where you'll see some of the more horror-inspired aesthetics, and frankly,
alright, so they think this is horror. They think this crap over here is horror. Like I said, look, he has a laugh. He's got a smile on his face, and they always have a smile on their face. This weird, goofy freaking smile. Does that look scary or fucking creepy? Creepy.
While the Veilguard's tone certainly leans more
Okay.
high.
Pay attention to the monster's
Don't worry.
face.
Those who miss
Look, they're okay. I'm gonna back it up, and I want you guys to pay attention. They're fighting on the edge of a cliff.
aspects of the blight. While the Veilguard's tone certainly leans
Okay, so he is backed up at the edge of the cliff right now.
more high fantasy in places like the Crossroads. Don't worry.
And no matter how hard and how much you hit the guy,
Fantasy of Origins will find that too in places where the blight has spread.
see? He even jumped back and he was held back by the invisible wall. Nitpicking, I know.
City that's home to the Antivan Crows faction. For one thing,
But it's
a lively
noticeable.
city feels like a novelty in Dragon Age. But there was simply
When
so
you
much to
challenge
explore
the
that I couldn't
players,
sidetrack.
the
A
gamers,
merchant with unique items here,
and
a quest to pick
when you challenge the gamers, we will nitpick the hell out of your game. We buy your crap. And if we don't buy your crap, your company goes down. I don't know how hard that is for these people to understand that you cannot protest the freaking consumer. You cannot protest the consumer.
up over there and a random combat encounter over there. And that's just when I wasn't looking around for a cat or dog to pet. Because yes,
There's got to be a dog or a cat to pet in these games. So quirky, so quirky.
you can pet the cats and dogs.
Good, good. I will chop off that
Outside
dog's
of the
head.
cats and dogs,
How about
there are some unique ways to interact with the environment as well. Each companion has an environmental ability, some of which came in quite handy for me. In my time in the Arlethan Forest, I frequently called upon Balara, whose environmental ability allows her to tinker with magical artifacts. In a night
Okay, did you guys notice that? Oh, apart from this goofy character. So, okay, let's go back a moment. So pay attention to how this mechanical thing enemy moves.
environmental ability allows her to tinker with magical artifacts. In a nice quality of life
Skating.
feature, your companions don't even need to be in your party in order for you to use these abilities. As an aside, another one of my favorite quality of life
So if I
additions
understand
is the fact
correctly,
that
you
party
pretty much
banter
control
pauses and picks up
mostly
again
one
later if you
person.
trigger combat, a cutscene, or anything else that would interrupt their dialogue. That's right, no more awkward standing around in order to hear the complete conversation.
Oh, yes.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, the difficulty and accessibility options do allow for about just as much or as little hand-holding as you need. For example, with one Antivan Crows quest I was doing, I could
The
turn navigation
Antivan
on and simply
Crows.
follow the game's guidance, or turn it off and look for clues in the
Antiva.
environment to follow. In this case, the crow's purple symbol painted on certain walls.
Another mark this way.
I also just happened to be playing an Antivan Crow Rook while completing this quest, which led to some fun dialogue options.
We crows are all the army anti.
Antiva. Antiva. What happens if you replace the V with an F? Antifa. You know what I'm implying. Activism in all the freaking games, man. Activism in all the freaking games. Social media mental disorders. I can't, man, it's time to fire every single manager, upper management. You fire these losers. And then you fire who they hired, and you replace the staff.
The garrison.
Once I
Hire
looked
me.
at the
I'll
things,
write
I can
you
clearly see
a
the features in
great
the Veilguard
cosmic
that
horror
boil down
story
to,
for your game.
Okay. We heard the complaints about Inquisition, specifically addressing the infamous Hinterlands problem, which is a reference to the first open world area players visit in Inquisition. The zone was packed with more than 50 side quests, many of which boiled down to mere fetch quests, and it left many players drowning in a bevy of checklists that felt
Alright, so they're
inconsequential
reducing
to
the
story. The Veilguard
side
has
quests
boiled this down
sounds like.
quite a lot. You're still free to explore, but the scope isn't nearly as dizzying, and the quests point back to the main story, a region or faction, or a companion. Another clear reaction to criticisms of Inquisition.
Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like, it's purple, magenta, ultraviolet, whatever you want to call it. It's all over the place, and it's covering the entire freaking screen. And I can't unsee it, man. It's the color out of space. Magenta is the color out of space. The one color that does not occur naturally in nature. Just like their behavior does not occur naturally in nature.
Are our villains in the Veilguard, Algernon
Human
and
nature.
Gillenane. The two elven gods feel much more present throughout the events of the early game than Corypheus, the frankly lackluster baddie of Inquisition.
Whatever comes, we're ready for a fight.
That's easily said, but rarely proven.
While there's a whole lot more Thedas to see and talk about, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it back home to the Lighthouse.
Dude, it's overpowering, man.
The Lighthouse will likely be the most important location.
All I see is the color.
Serving as the hub for you and your companions. Each one of your companions has their own room, and conveniently, a light shines outside of their door when they have a cutscene available. Once you get further into Act 1, it certainly starts to...
Do you guys not see the color washing over everything? Guys, go to the PlayStation Store, go to the games to wish list for the upcoming games, and you will see every single game made in the West, but as well, there's also a lot of Eastern games as well. They all have this unseeable, unignorable color wash of purple, magenta, neon color flashes all over the place, and it's very distracting, and it's very hard to ignore it.
Feel more lived in, and you can discover some.
In my opinion, that is the calling card for these
I found that Emmerich's
consultation
skeletal
games.
assistant Manfred enjoys spending time on the balcony.
Stupid, looks freaking stupid. The skeleton looks stupid.
And we even got a few games of rock, paper, scissors in.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
The Lighthouse is also, obviously, where you're able to do some housekeeping, especially when it comes to the caretaker.
Offer, dweller. I will answer.
This wildly helpful spirit is always standing by to help you enchant and upgrade armor for you and your companions. I found
Color,
the Lighthouse
color.
symbolic of one of the biggest challenges this game is facing. Bringing in new players.
I will
while
make this a
honoring
thing.
the
I will make
incredibly
everybody
vast lore that
realize
Dragon Age
this.
has built across the games, comic books,
Every
short stories,
game that
and
is
more.
consulted on,
Basically,
you will
if you were
see
worried that the name change from Dragon Age
the color out of
would mean
space.
less Solus, think again. His history, along with the history of the other elven gods, is baked into the Lighthouse, and you learn more and more about the threat you face as you unlock Solus's murals with various wolf statues.
Okay, one more minute to go, guys. I appreciate it.
They need gods who can protect them.
We are not gods. You will learn that.
And don't get me wrong, I
As a
do
lore nerd,
actually
I
like
very much appreciate
the color
this, as
purple,
well as the various
magenta.
other
I do like
callbacks
them.
to
That's why
series
you see
history.
me using
The
them
Origins fans will likely
in
love
my
the Grey Warden
thumbnails.
quests, and we already know the Inquisitor
I
will be
do
involved in
cosmic
some way,
horror
but you can
stuff,
recreate them
and
select
it's in
your
all
world
my
states with the
stuff.
character creator. But I do wonder if it'll overwhelm new players, which BioWare certainly seems to be courting with its action-heavy combat
But that's my
system.
artistic choice. Whereas
That's why
in
it
these
helps
games,
that
it
we stamp
seems like
something
a
of an outsider like Rook
calling
to take the
card.
helm of the Veilguard. Plus, the scrappiness of Rook reminded me a bit of
Because it
Miles
makes
Hall
all
in
the
Dragon Age
games look
2, rather than
weird
the more chosen one-esque protagonist, the
cartoony.
Warden in Origins and the Inquisitor in Inquisition. In short, a lot's changed in Dragon Age the Veilguard, but there was so much I was relieved to see stay.
Nothing
The
looks
focus on
scary.
companions
Nothing
and
looks
romance, the
intimidating.
rich lore.
She's wearing one of Shiva's bikinis. Mortal Kombat. Okay, let's look at the
Veilguard,
Griffin.
But there was so much I was relieved to see stay. The focus on
See, this is why people can't take this game seriously. It looks cute. I'll give you that. The Griffin looks cute. What the hell, man? Whatever.
companions and romance, the rich lore, and a gorgeous world to explore. It goes without saying that there's still a ton of the Veilguard that I haven't seen, especially if it's as big as Origins and Inquisition, and it certainly seems like it. But after finishing my preview, I found myself even more eager to dive into it, and much more hopeful that this could be the hit BioWare needs.
All you gotta do is tell your staff.
10 long years since Dragon Age Inquisition.
Don't argue with the players. And I'm sure people will react a little bit friendlier towards your game. But then again, you also have the player base that also attacks the people that point out this stuff. So that's so this is what I wanted to show you guys. So up until the 19th, so I'm uploading the video actually on the 19th. So anybody that you've been watching doing reviews for Dragon Age the Veilguard, they are not allowed being negative about it. I could be negative about it because I didn't play the game and I'm not under any sort of embargo. I tried to make this video earlier, but I was way too busy. So anybody that you're seeing reviewing the game, trying to sell you on the game, these guys are, one, either that they did actually love the game and this is a game for them, or they're shills and they want to make sure that they get invited to the next EA press conference or gameplay event. So I would not trust anybody that is trying to sell you on this game until we start seeing the actual reviews for the game, whether it's actually good or whether it's actually bad. Based on everything that I'm seeing, I'm gonna predict this game is gonna be poorly received, and it will be getting out of 10 a 6. No, it's probably gonna get a 7. Remember, a 7 is not a terrible score, but it is most likely gonna get a 7 because everyone's gonna just play safe with their reviews. Like I said, I will be playing this on day 1, and you guys will see my honest reaction to the actual game. Anything that I talk about, to either praise or trash, you guys know that I always play the game, I always watch the movie, I always watch the TV show before I start doing the trashing of it. So tune in for that when the game comes out. So guys, I greatly appreciate you guys giving me some of your time today. I know it was painful. Hell, maybe you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, awesome. And make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. Leave me some of your comments below. You guys can criticize me. I don't give a crap. I'm open to positive and negative criticism. But if you're going to be an asshole and call me stupid, call me a retard, call me a this, call me a that, I have absolutely no problem banning people. So you're not hurting me. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys. And as always, stay stellar. Come back for the next video. Jiga Vega out. All right. Later.